weather changed, and so fall allergies kick in. So there's my emergency water if I need it. I have a story to tell you. It's a story about a time I was called to be a hero in an emergency situation. And as I'm telling my story, I would love for you to come along with me on this heroic journey and think about what job you would take that day, because there are many heroes on the scene that day. So come along and think about what role you would take in this emergency. So this happened about 12 years ago, and I was speaking with a friend of mine at a business of hers. She has a business right here in town on Old 23, and the offices to her business are on the backside. And that's where I was with her speaking that day. The backside of her building faces US 23 South. So as I'm standing there speaking with her, over her shoulder, I can see cars flying by. We were right there. And there came a time when I saw this big puff of dirt and rocks and grass just flying in the air. And for a split second, because this is what happens to your brain, I thought, are they mowing the median? I know dirt and grass flies, but not that high. I knew something was happening. And right away, as I'm looking at this big pile of dust and smoke and dirt, one of her staff members came flying out of the room, out of the office. And she was followed by all her other staff members. And they were saying, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. So we started running. And we ran. I can't tell you how far her building is from the highway, but maybe 40 yards. I don't really know, but we ran as fast as we could to get up to the highway. There was a fence we had to jump along the way. I don't remember that being a big deal. I get up to the highway, and at this time, when we all arrive, we spread out. I don't know where my friend is. I don't know where anybody is. I'm just standing on the highway, and the first thing I remember feeling is the highway underneath my feet. It felt so surreal to be standing in the middle of the highway. There were cars rushing on the opposite, the northbound lane, and there were cars stopped here. And it just felt really strange to be standing there. And all of this happened so fast as I'm speaking to you. It all happened very fast. So I turn to the right, and I see this white utility van. It's flipped over upside down. The roof is down here, the tires are up here. And I started walking towards the van to see what was going on. And there were many other people there at the same time. It took a lot of heroes that day to work that scene. And I saw a figure. I knew right away it was a man. He was trying to escape out the back side of the utility truck. It was upside down, but he was trying to get out. So a bunch of us yelled at the same time, he's in there, we got to get him out. And a couple men went inside and helped him get out. And at that moment, my body felt so calm. I know I was in fight or flight coming up to get to the emergency, because I had no idea what I was going to find when I got up there. But I calmed in that instance because I thought it was over. I thought everything was over, we're good. So I walk away from the van, and I go to find the person that's on 911, because that's important. There are a lot of people there. I pretty much figured someone was on the phone with 911, but I walked away from the scene, found the person that was on 911, turned around, walked back towards the van, thinking everything's good. And as I get towards the corner of the van, this woman comes around the other corner. So the van's like right here. I'm here. She comes around the corner and she's screaming, "We need CPR, we need CPR, we need CPR." And now I'm in fight or flight like crazy. In fight or flight, these are the things that happen. Our mind races so that we can focus on the emergency. If you've ever had a racing mind, you know that we have to pick and choose what to focus on. And that's why our mind races. Our vision gets blurred. We get tunnel vision. Again, so that emergency is right there. And that's all we can focus on. Our heart races, our palms get sweaty, our bellies get nauseous or that butterfly feeling. And the reason for that is because all the blood in our trunk down to our legs. Blood carries oxygen. Blood has red blood cells, which carries the oxygen that our muscles need to perform. And if I need to run towards an emergency or away from an emergency, I want all the energy power I can get in my legs. If someone's chasing me, I need to run faster than them, right? So I really want you to understand that fight or flight is a protector for us. It's meant to help us. But when it first happens, I'm standing on the highway. This woman comes around the corner saying, "We need CPR, we need CPR." I don't see anybody flying by me. And this is what's happening in my head. Oh no, I know CPR. Oh no, what am I going to do? I know how to fix this problem, but I was in a panic state. So it's really important when you're in fight or flight that you remember that it's meant for good. You're currently panicking. Let's switch it around. So if you can, right now, stand up for me. Help me get out of fight or flight. I'm on the highway. I know I have to give CPR to someone. This is what we do. 1, we take a big inhale. We're going to hold it for about 3 or 4 seconds, then we're going to let it out really hard. Inhale in. Let it out really strong. Yes, I heard that. Immediate. Gone. Here's another thing I did, like this. Shake it out. Shake it out. Let it go. Let it go. Go ahead and sit down. Thank you so much for helping me. The other thing that I did was I switched my thoughts. I went from, "Oh no, I know CPR," to, "I know CPR. I know how to help this person." And all of this happened I was moving. I was walking to get around the van to see what I needed to do. Like this. I know CPR. I can do this. It happens really fast. So come along around the van with me. And what I saw was a young man laying on his back in the middle of the highway. I went up to his head and I evaluated him, and I'm a good Samaritan at this point. I'm not a nurse or a doctor, but I bent down and it was pretty obvious that he didn't need CPR. I checked for a pulse. It was too late for me to help him, but looking at him on the ground, he was 21 at the time. I knew he was very close to my daughter's age at the time. And all I could think of was his mother. That's all I could think of. My brain was just, I have to help him. I have to help him. So there were a group of people kind of standing back, and that's okay. If that's your position, that's okay, because I needed them to go into action. So I walk up to them, and I'm kind of frantic and really needing to help this man. And I said, and at this time, traffic was flowing by on the shoulder. It wasn't before. They stopped, but they got brave and started going by. And this young man was exposed on the highway, and it drove me crazy. So I went up to these people and I said, you got to block the traffic. You have to. And they were like, no. Like, cars are going by. And then I saw this man. He was much taller than me, broad shoulders, big guy. And I said, we need to block the traffic. And he said, it ain't happening. So I quickly kept thinking, what can I do? And so I had them line up in a semicircle with their backs facing this young man, watching the traffic go by. They were protecting him from the onlookers. And that was so important to me on this day. And then I went back to the young man. My friend was there. I have no idea what she was doing the rest of the time, but I saw her there. And we stayed there with him. There were several people around. We were touching him. We were praying for him. And I will tell you later on that his mother called my friend at her job. And she was very grateful for every single person that was there that day. The person that called 911, help has to arrive. The people that blocked the traffic so that strangers could not look at this young man laying on the ground in the condition he was in. The people that were on the ground with him praying, that was very special to her. She was a Catholic woman, and for us to be with her son in his time of need and to pray over him was very special. There were people on the guardrail with the man. Remember the man that was in the van? He was the driver. He was staring at his friend laying on the ground. There were people that needed to protect him. 4 or 5 of them on the guardrail, making sure he stayed safe. So do you know what role you would take? Because I'm telling you right now, there is no role in an emergency that is less important than the other. None. There were so many heroes on the scene of that accident that day, and I'm so proud that a bunch of strangers came together. It worked seamlessly. And so, like Ari said, I hope this never happens to you. But if you go through life with eyes wide open and not here, I go through life like this. If that happens to you ever, you know how to get out of fight or flight, and you know what kind of role you might take that day, so that you could be a hero for somebody when they need you in an emergency. Thank you.